Chapter 24. Harry Walter. How do you escape from a woman who is clingy and doesn't want to let go no matter what? I have tried my best to escape from her, but instead, I found myself being tangled by her deeply. I hate this, hate this, hate this! I yelled in my head as I turned around to watch Elsa staring at me with a smile on her face. Have you accepted my friendship yet? Or do I have to do more for you to know I'm serious? She asked, leaning closer to me. No! I yelled. You have done enough, and I'm grateful to you. Honestly, I'd prefer it if you stop now, I said. Then be my friend, and I will stop. Elsa, Blah, blah, blah. I didn't get that. What were you saying? She yelled as she covered her ears with her hands. I clenched my hands in a fist. I checked to observe the environment. Jesse and Thompson were playing with my parents. I haven't seen Luna Alysa and Alpha Maverick for almost 3 days, which made me wonder if they were okay. I would love to go check upon them, but I have to deal with her first. She's a pain in my ass right now, bribing my kids and parents into loving her. Now I can't stop getting lectures from parents of how cute and lovely she is, while my pups all want a mama in her, and I pretty much am fed up with everything. I stood up and grabbed her hands, pulling her along with me. I wanted us to be far away from my pups and parents before I had this conversation with her. I don't want my kids to cry like the last time when I told her I wasn't interested in mating or being friends with her. Wow, I didn't know Harry Walter likes to play rough, she teased, and I shook my head before pinning her against the wall. Listen, Elsa, I've been too hurt to want to accept your pretense. And besides, can you just let me be happy as a free man? Do I have to make you my mate? I asked her. Nope. You don't have to make me your mate, she said, and I heaved a sigh of relief. Good. I'm glad we're on the same page. But you have to make me your friend. Then we'll see if you can resist me or not, Harry Walter. I'm not the type to back down easily. Soon, you will need me more than I need you now. She winked at me. Aren't you understanding what I'm saying right now? Nope, because it doesn't make sense to me. Listen, Harry, just because you had a failed first chance of mate doesn't mean that everyone else is evil or like the bitch that hurt you. I'm different, okay? And I don't pretend. If I like someone, I will claim the person. I like you, and I'm glad we are mates. That just adds up to make it perfect, she said, and I scoffed. We ain't going to do this, Elsa. Please understand me. I'm trying to. You are not the first person that has gotten a heartbreak, and you are not going to be the last person. Have you put your pups into consideration? Or your parents? Your pups are happy to call me their mama, and they love me, same as your parents. Why then is your case different? She asked. I was about to answer her when my phone started ringing, bringing out the phone from my back pocket to check who the caller was. It was from Jamayah. That's odd. I haven't heard from him since the last time he helped me out. I remembered when I was escaping with my family and I thought we were free, only for me to discover that Jamayah was at the spot where we normally hang out. What are you doing, Harry? Where are you going to? He asked. Shoot, I've been caught. and if he drags me back to Alpharati, I will be killed for real. Jamayah, please, I have to leave here with my family. Please. If not, we will all be in danger, I pleaded with him. What have you done, Harry? Why is your life in danger? He asked, and I ended up explaining everything to him, detailed without leaving any vital information out. You can leave. I hope you get to your destination without getting caught. I'm sorry about your mate. Thank you, Jamayah. Thank you so much. I appreciated him. I was about to leave when he called out to me. Hey, pal, you owe me one for saving your life. I'll distract anyone coming this way and point in the opposite direction. Take care and farewell to you, he said, and I murmured a thank you to him before passing through the crack. Since then, I haven't heard from him, and now all of a sudden he is calling me, making me feel suspicious that something is wrong. What could be wrong? The vibration of the phone I was holding jolted me from my thoughts, and I quickly picked up the call. Hello, this is Harry speaking. Harry, it's Jamayah. I need your help. All I could hear was the sound of wind and someone panting, and the sound of footsteps running. Jamayah, what's wrong? I asked him. We are on the run. Remember, you owe me. I need both of us to see. A safe place is preferable, please. I have a safe place. I can't take you to where I'm staying, but I can rent an apartment for you to stay in the town, I explained to him. I waited for the wind to subside first before continuing. I will send you the location and address, I promised him, and he ended the call. I stood up, but was blocked by Elsa. Is everything okay? She asked, and I nodded. My friend needs my help, and I have to help him out, I replied. I'm coming with you. Hell no, you are not. Yes, I am, and you can't say no to me. So are you driving or am I driving? She asked. When will I be able to say no to this woman? She's hell-bent on ruining me. Here, you drive. I finally agreed, throwing the car keys. With a little laugh and a jump of victory, she ran towards the car, urging me to come quickly. We drove for 13 hours till we got to the place, switching turns to drive. Soon, we got to the place I had in mind to rent for the accommodation. By my calculations, he will be here tomorrow by 3 p.m., so we had to stay here together. I gulped hard on my saliva when I thought of how I would be alone with her in the same building and space. So, where is your friend? She asked the moment we got into the apartment. They will arrive by tomorrow, so I have to get the whole place ready for them to settle in, I explained to her. So, we are alone together, right? She asked. I hate to admit it, but yes, it seems that way. That was why I told you not to come along. I'm not complaining. We get to know each other better. She took a step closer to me, while I took some steps backward until my back was against the wall. There's something about this woman that terrifies me and makes me want to be far away from her. The closer we are, the more I am unable to resist her, and I hated that. Fine, let's get to know each other. But please, can you move back a little? I pleaded. I could feel her breath on my neck, and she chuckled. You can't resist me, can you? Am I turning you on? She asked, licking my neck with her tongue, which gave me goosebumps, and my member hardened. Please, don't do this to me. I'm trying so hard to control myself, and I don't want to risk it. I'm not complaining. You can take me later. But all I know is that you are going to be mine. So why not take me now? She asked. I just can't. Why? Why can't you? What's holding you? If I have sex with you or mate you, Mia will be in pain. And yes, I know she deserves it for hurting me and breaking our trust. But I can't afford to mate another, knowing fully well that she will be in pain for eternity every time you and I, do it. So please understand. And besides, I'm scared of getting hurt again. I explained everything I had in mind to her truthfully, and she smiled, taking some steps backwards. You are too kind and too good for me. What do you mean? Nothing. I understand about the part of not wanting to hurt your ex-mate. I can wait till everything is over between you two. But before then, I will want you to focus on me and me alone, until you can find the differences between us that I'm nothing like your mate. She gave me the peace sign before going to sit on the couch. I took in a deep breath and released it. I'm glad she took my plea to heart and didn't press any further. I was this close to forgetting the hurt of Mia and taking her right here if she had continued to pressure me. So, are you going to sit down? And let's get to know each other more. I already told you that I won't let you go. She smiled, tapping the empty space for me to sit down. I sluggishly walked to the empty seat, and she began the conversation, which I later took a liking to. And the more time we got talking, I realized she was nice and genuinely loved my kids, even before finding out they were mine. She has this warmth that made my heart relax. Her laughter brought a smile to my face, and she draws me to the point that Jexley kept telling me she would make a perfect mother for my pups. I want to believe it. I really do. My phone rang, and I answered it quickly. Jamayah, were you able to leave there? I asked him. Yes, we just boarded a train. And Harry, I think I might have pissed Alpha Roddy. His voice trembled as he spoke to me. What have you done? While escaping, I killed a few of them. Alpha Roddy noticed we were missing and sent his men after me. And soon we started fighting. Then I killed them. He sobbed. It's okay. I'm waiting for you. Come to me, I said, trying to calm him down. Thank you. And Harry, if you are with Luna Alysa, you should tell her to be careful. Alpha Roddy is looking for her. He is putting all his resources into it. And soon she might be found, he warned. Make sure you are not being followed. When you come, we will talk. Stay safe. I answered him before ending the call, and I quickly texted Luna Alysa. Luna, you have to be careful. Alpha Roddy is out searching for you. I will give you the details when I get back.
Chapter 25. Elissa. It's been 3 days since I've been in bed. Maverick has forbidden me to leave the bed. Breakfast in bed, sex and cuddles have been our daily activities. The pack wouldn't run itself, neither will my job, too. Rosalind has been calling me non-stop. I know she is worried about me after what happened the other day. I haven't had the chance to call her back because a certain someone was so possessive of me and won't just let me breathe. I was followed everywhere, to the bathroom, and even when I do stretches, he always tags along, standing behind me to assist me. Bathing together was a bit weird. because that was the first time I allowed a guy to bathe me, having his eyes fixed on my body. It was embarrassing, weird, and at the same time, I loved it. I loved the new feeling I was having. The way he shows me love and affection got me falling deeper than I could control. I slowly sat up from the bed and watched as he slept like a baby. I'm grateful to the moon goddess for giving me a chance to be happy and for bringing Rosalind into my life to talk some sense into me. If she hadn't advised me to open my heart and give him a chance, I would have missed someone great like him. I couldn't help my itching hands. I have found myself using my fingertip to draw a line on his face and placed a kiss on his forehead. Good morning, he said, yawning. Good morning. It's morning. You should get up, I whispered, pushing him lightly. Let's sleep more and cuddle more. We can get up later. He pulled my arm. No, I answered coldly. No? He asked, arching his eyebrow. Then all of a sudden I had my back on the bed while he rained kisses on my neck, eyes, nose, cheeks, mouth, and then nibbled my neck, which tickled, and I couldn't help but giggle like a child. Are you still going to say no? He asked, his eyes staring lustfully at me. I shook my head, stretched my hand forward to cup his face. I would love to stay here all day with you, but you have work to do. The pack needs their alpha, and my boss needs me, I reminded him. I know, but I need you more. And besides, you can quit. I can take care of you. Yeah, I know, but I love working, so please don't tell me to quit because you know I won't, I said, sneaking away from him. So stubborn, he murmured. That's why you love me, isn't it? I blew a kiss in his direction and headed to the bathroom, but was called halfway by him. Yeah? I replied, turning to him. The contract we both signed. Let's get rid of it. Tear it. No, burn it. Or anything, as long as we get rid of it. We're not pretending anymore. We're now together for good, he said with a grin on his face. Mine is on the top drawer of my room. Do whatever you want with it. I'm getting late for work, I answered, and entered the bathroom. I switched on the shower, water pouring down my body as I hum a song while bathing, and I was startled when I felt hands wrap around my waist. He was clothed, and his body was getting soaked. I tried to turn around to face him, but he wouldn't budge. Let's stay like this for a few moments, please, he pleaded, his voice like a whisper close to my ears. He wasn't sounding all right or cheerful, and that got me scared. What could be wrong? He was happy when I entered the bathroom. Then what was wrong? Rick, is everything okay? You don't feel too good with the way you sound, I asked him, trying to turn around again to check him, but he held me still. I'm fine. I'm just glad you are mine, he said, hugging me tightly, and I felt a warm drop of water on my back and froze. He was crying. Maverick was crying. But why? Fuck this. I switched off the shower and turned to him. Now what's wrong? You better spill or I will get mad at you, I scolded him. You know I will always protect you, right? No matter what. Just know that you are mine to protect, not anybody else, and you will come to me, he said. He was getting me more worried. Maeve, what's wrong? You're scaring me. Just promise me you will come to me, and you won't handle anything alone, and you come to me so we could work hard together. Maverick, just promise me, he said, cutting my words short. Please. I didn't know what was happening, and it seemed he wouldn't answer me, so all I needed to do was to promise him that I would come to him. I promise you, "I will always come to you when anything comes up," I assured him, but I was definitely not going to let it go. I will have to find out what was wrong with him and why his sudden change of mood. He pulled me once again for a hug, and I just stood there while he held me tightly. After a few minutes, he finally broke the hug and walked out of the bathroom without saying anything to me. I quickly washed the soap away from my body and tied a towel around my waist. I ran out of the bathroom to find the bedroom empty. There was no sign of him. My phone was lying on the bed, turned upside down. If I could remember clearly, the phone was on the table before I went to take my bath. Taking the phone, I scanned through to see if there was anything that could have upset him, but I saw none. Wearing an oversized t-shirt and fitted jeans, I went in search of Maverick, but was told by one of the Omegas that he'd just left. I tried calling his phone, but it wasn't connecting. Whatever might have happened, this was the first time since we have been together that I have seen him in that kind of mood, and it got me worried. I drove to the convenience store that I was working at, and I saw someone running towards me. It was Rosalind. I knew what would come next, nagging and scolding from her. "You! Don't you know that I would be fucking worried about you and that you should pick up your calls? The least you could do is to text and tell me that you're okay." "I'm sorry. I was restricted from calling and told to relax and stay away from my phone or anything that could stress me," I opened up. "Your address. I need your damn address in case you make me worry again. I will come look for you." "I promise I won't," I assured her. I couldn't possibly give a human an address to come visit me in a place packed with werewolves, with no idea of when they will shift into their wolf forms. "I will definitely let you know when I visit my place, so we can have a girls' night in," I told her, trying to cheer myself up. "What's wrong this time?" Rosalind asked, surprising me that she could tell what was wrong by staring at me. "Nothing. Just that for the first time since I knew Maverick, this was the first time that I'm seeing him in a shady mood that I can't even understand, and the worst of it all is that he isn't letting me in." "Did you guys fight?" I shook my head. "We didn't." I explained to her about my phone being on the table and then the bed, and I scrolled through it to see if anything was wrong, but it was all perfect. Nothing seemed to be on the phone. "Do you think he deleted the message so he could hide whatever it was? And to think it bothers him that much, then it must be something bad," Rosalind suggested. "What could it be? I don't hide secrets from him, so what could be on that phone that got him so sad and angry that he had to leave without a trace or without telling me, and he turned off his phone too?" "Let him be. He will be all right, whatever it is. Just give him some time, and he will definitely tell you what the problem is," Rosalind said, patting me on my back. "I'm glad she is here with me right now. Her comfort was the best thing for me right now. I just have to trust him and wait patiently for him to open up and tell me the situation. Until then, I have to pray to the moon goddess to keep him safe." Maverick Xander. I didn't know how or when it happened. All I knew is that I'm stuck with her forever, and that I'm hopelessly in love with her. I didn't want her out of my sight, neither do I want her to stay a few minutes away from me. I was like a leech, always gluing to her. I love her, and I love her so much that 1 second away from her was like a ticking bomb that is about to explode, killing just me. I would love to lie in bed with her forever, but duty calls. My pack won't rule itself. Lorenzo has tried enough for me by filling up and doing all the work by himself while I was having the best, fun-filled days with my mate. I watched as she walked into the bathroom. She had finally agreed to destroy the contract, meaning we were an item. A real item, not being together by a piece of paper, but being together because we were in love with each other. I jumped off the bed, wearing a white t-shirt and boxers that my hand could reach, before reaching for my drawer to get my documents as well. With my documents in my hand, I walked to her room where the documents were kept, took them, and hurried to the furnace to burn them. I watched as the fire was burning the documents, and when I was sure that everything was turned to ashes, I walked back into the room to wait for her. Glancing in the direction of the bathroom, wondering what she would wear when coming out, if she would be naked or not, I heard her phone buzzing. I shouldn't be doing this, going through her phone to check who called or texted her, but I found my hands itching, and I couldn't resist the temptation when I grabbed the phone. No password, lucky me, and the message was from Harry. I wanted to drop the phone when I saw a name in the text. Rhodey. I adjusted myself and opened the message to read the content. Luna, you have to be careful. Alpha Rhodey is out searching for you. I will give you the details when I get back. I read it over and over again. If he was searching for her, soon he is going to find her, and I wouldn't want that. Nothing or nobody is going to take my mate away from me without a fight, and I'm ready to kill anyone who will try taking that risk. She is mine to protect, mine to keep safe. I deleted the message, grabbed my car keys, and was about to leave when I heard her humming a song. The song was my favorite song. It was the song my mom usually sang to me as a lullaby when I wanted to go to bed. I sang it to her once, and I couldn't believe that she still remembered the tone of the music. I allowed the music to take absolute control of me as I staggered into the bathroom, and when I saw her moving her body to the rhythm of the tone, I melted, picturing a world without her in it. I couldn't bear it. I walked faster and wrapped my arms around her waist, holding her firmly while I cried myself out. I made sure she didn't see me cry or tell her the reason for my tears. I was afraid, scared of losing her, scared of living in a world without her. I tried my best in lying by making sure I don't spill the reasons for my tears. I kept on telling her to trust me, that I will protect her and keep her safe. When she finally gave in, I held her for a few minutes before breaking the hug and leaving the bathroom. I walked out of the house with my wet body, not caring if I was drenched or not. "Siri, call Harry," I said to my phone, while I ignited my car and drove away from the house. "Calling Harry now," the voice responded, and I waited for a few rings before Harry finally picked up. "Alpha, good evening." "Good evening. I will cut to the chase and go straight to the point of why I'm calling you. Rhodey. I need more information about him and how close he is to finding my mate," I asked him. "That I don't know yet. A friend of mine escaped the pack, and he is on his way here to meet me." "In my pack?" I asked him, hitting the brake at once. "No, Alpha, far away from the pack. I don't want Luna to know who the person is." "Who is the person?" "Jamayah, beta to Alpha Rhodey," he answered, and I scoffed. Why is a beta running away from his alpha? What did he do wrong? Or is this a kind of setup to find my mate? "I doubt it. He killed Alpha Rhodey's men, and he told me about the resources Alpha Rhodey is using to search for Luna Alysa. About what he did, I don't know yet, but I'm waiting for him to arrive." "I see. Send me the location." "Alpha, it's an order, Harry. I won't sit down and watch my mate be in danger," I roared through the phone. "Yes, Alpha. I'll send it right now." I ended the call, and a few minutes later the sound of my phone buzzing was heard. I quickly picked it up to check the address and saw that I couldn't make it today because of the distance. I will split the journey into 2. It was 4 p.m. I have to drive halfway and get a motel to sleep. I have to find out from this beta guy how close he is to finding Elissa, and if I should be preparing for a war. But no matter what happens, I will protect her with my blood, sweat, and tears. Chapter 26. Third-person POV. Planning an escape wasn't as easy as Jamayah thought. He wasn't expecting Rhodey to be back home so soon. He was normally late any time he goes out, but today was different. He was back as earlier as expected. All of a sudden, Jamayah heard through the mind link that he had been tagged as a traitor, and anybody who laid eyes on him should kill him and bring his body back to Alpha Rhodey, but no one was allowed to touch Elizabeth. The greatest mistake Alpha Rhodey made was allowing him to have access and be connected to the mind link before making the announcement. Knowing his life was in danger, and anyone who got hold of him would kill him, he decided he would attack first, according to the phrase, kill or be killed. Look here, Lizzie, it's going to get bloody from here on. Don't worry, they would not hurt or kill you. I'm their target. I'm the one they want. When I say run, please hide and don't come out until I tell you to. Is that understood? Jamayah asked, and she bobbed her head. Good. Now let's run, commanded Jamayah, and they both took to their heels, with Jamayah in the front leading the way. The sounds of branches and twigs breaking could be heard from afar. That was enough to give away their location. Jamayah heard footsteps behind them and turned around to face Elizabeth. Run and hide. Don't come out until you hear my voice. No. Let's hide together, please. Don't go out there. You don't know how many there are. Please, just hide and forget it all, she said, pulling at Jamayah's hand to come along with her, but Jamayah shrugged her hand away. I'm a beta. No matter how many there are, they can't overpower me, he said, removing 2 daggers from his bag before giving the bag to Elizabeth, pushing her forward with full force. He turned around and ran in the direction where the footsteps were coming from. He stopped on the track to await the intruders sent to kill him. When he heard the footsteps coming closer, he ran faster towards them. He didn't give them any chance to attack him before bouncing on them, stabbing at their hearts for an easy kill. The 4 werewolves were no match for the beta, who was highly trained, next in command after the alpha. When he was done killing them and hiding their bodies in the bush, he saw the tracks of their feet, and he looked forward to seeing the tracks of his and Elizabeth's feet too. Without wasting time, he took action, covering the tracks. He made sure he redirected their footsteps away from the west direction. When he saw that their tracks were covered, he went back to where he had left Elizabeth and called out to her. When she heard his voice, she ran out of hiding and ran in his direction before jumping on his body. No time for hugs, as much as I want it. We have to be safe first, Jamayah told her. They began their race for survival. When they got to the broken fence, he allowed Elizabeth to pass through first before him. He knew if he should follow the road, they would have a better chance of being caught, so the best way is through the woods, lifting Elizabeth on his shoulder, who seems too weak to run faster. If he was to allow her to run on her own, she would drag him back, and it would be easier for them to get caught, so that was the only available thing to do. With her on his shoulders, he took to his heels once more, running very fast. At one point, he had to give Elizabeth his load while he morphed into his wolf form, and Elizabeth got on top of him, giving her a ride as they ran away for safety. When he could hear the sound of the train and voices of people, he halted and morphed back to his human form. Get dressed, please, Elizabeth screamed, turning her face away from him. Shaking his head, he opened his bag to bring out his clothes to change into. Fully dressed, they headed towards the train station, his eyes scanning the area to check if he was being followed. Having called Harry and a location given to him, they boarded the train, which will take them to the location the next day. He knew the reason for his help and for giving them a place to stay. He has to tell Harry the situation of the pack and how obsessed the Alpha was with finding Luna Alysa and everything he knows about it. He knew once he arrived at the location, the first thing Harry would say to him was information about the Alpha, and he had no choice but to reveal everything to him. Jamayah knew he broke the rules of not betraying the Alpha, but Rhodey broke a greater rule of trying to have him killed. No matter what, an Alpha isn't supposed to kill a Beta without hearing the Beta's side of the story, and if he was to be called a whistleblower, he doesn't care. Life for life. Elizabeth was fast asleep beside him. No matter how hard he tried to sleep, he couldn't. His eyes were always scanning the environment in search of Alpha Rhodey's men in case they booked the train with him. It was 6 a.m. when the train arrived at the destination they were heading to, from Madrid, Spain, to London, England. Jamayah woke Elizabeth, and they both alighted from the train. He called a cab to take them to the apartment that Harry rented for them. When they got there, Harry was waiting for him, and when he saw Elizabeth, he staggered backward in surprise. "Jamayah, what is she doing here?" he asked, pointing at Elizabeth. "It's a long story, Harry, which I will fill you in," Jamayah said, trying to calm Harry while still holding Elizabeth's hand. "No, this is a bad idea, a very bad one at that, and if Alysa sees her, it will be hell. You should have told me you had her with you," Harry yelled. "If I had told you, would you have volunteered to help me?" asked Jamayah. "No, I wouldn't do it because it will get my Luna angry," yelled Harry. "What do you expect me to do, leave her?" asked Jamayah. "Exactly. That's what a wise person would do. You know what she did to Luna, Elissa, and me, and you expect me to welcome her with open hands? I can't leave my mate and run away. She's the reason I'm being tagged a traitor and why Alpha Rhodey wants my head," Jamayah yelled, which made Harry short of words. "What?" Harry exclaimed. "She is my mate, Harry, the one given to me by the moon goddess," Jamayah confirmed. "Then why didn't she have an idea about you?" "She was marked already by Rhodey. Therefore her senses of smell were blocked completely, and she couldn't tell any longer. So I'm sorry, Harry, that I didn't tell you. I just couldn't let her be alone after everything she's gone through at the hands of Rhodey," Jamayah said, explaining the ordeals that transpired between Elizabeth and Rhodey. "That's the moon goddess, punishing her for her crimes, and she deserves it and more to come." "Harry!" Elsa yelled. "Don't be wicked and heartless at the same time. I know what she did was wrong, but don't you dare judge her," she scolded, and Harry had no choice but to rephrase his statement. "I just hope Luna Elissa doesn't come across you, because she is the Luna of this place," Harry informed them. "I see. She always ends up with the big guys. Well, I will try my best to avoid her at all costs," Elizabeth finally said, which resulted in a hiss from Harry. Just then, the door barged open, and Alpha Maverick walked in, his eyes red and cold. "Jamayah, the Beta of Rhodey and the Dark Blue Crest, I heard you have some useful information about my mate and her ex. I would like to know about it." He walked towards the couch to sit down. "I would gladly tell you everything about it, if you would permit us to remain in your land and accept us into your land so we won't be labeled as rogue wolves, please," pleaded Jamayah. "Depending on the information you pass to me, then I will decide whether to grant you the freedom you seek or not," Alpha Maverick said, tapping his feet on the floor. "Then I have no choice but to tell you everything. Alpha Rhodey, like I said before, is obsessed with Luna Elissa. He has a necklace that she left behind. Alpha Rhodey always takes it around, sniffs it, and tells the Omegas to wear the chain and dress like Luna Elissa when having sex with them, and if they refused, he would have them punished. The pack is divided into two. Some are trying to save the pack, while Alpha Rhodey is using all his expenses to look for the Luna, and soon he might find her out." He told them everything he knew about Alpha Rhodey and what his plans were. When he was done explaining everything, Alpha Maverick stood up, his hands clenched in a fist form. "So, Alpha, please, We just need a place to stay." "You can stay, but you have to hide yourself from my mate. I don't want her to see you," he said, pointing at Elizabeth. "We understand, Alpha. I promise to hide her and myself away from your mate," Jamayah promised. "Good. Keep me updated about it. Harry, I will leave you to tell him the rules and regulations. I'll see you at the pack." He stood up and headed towards the door. Everyone was surprised when he was walking backward, hands in the air, and everyone turned in the direction of the door. Oh no, this was bad timing. Chapter 27, Third Person POV. Maverick's heart pondered deep within his chest as he paced back and forth in the hotel room. He had his phone in his hands, and he stared at it with Alyssa's contact on the screen. His mind was conflicted on what to do. He doesn't know if he should let her in on what's going on, or if he should ignore it and face it head-on alone. "I'm the alpha of my pack. Protecting my Luna is my duty, and not both of us. I know she is strong, but right now there is something she loves more in this world, and that's her pup. If I should tell her about this, it will get her agitated and stressed, which might affect the baby, but—" He stopped pacing and sat on the only chair in the hotel room. "If I don't tell her about it, and she finds out all by herself, I'll be scolded and punished in her way. Damn, I hate it when she scolds me. It's a never-ending saga. Moon Goddess, give me a clue on how to do this," Maverick said to himself, his thoughts filled with Alyssa as he kept pondering on what to do next. He knew sleep was far from him tonight because of his clouded thoughts, and he wondered also how Elissa was doing, if she was okay being alone and not hearing a word from him. "What should I do now? I really need help or a solution," he muttered. The buzzing sound of his alarm jolted him from his thoughts, and checking the time, it was 6 a.m. in the morning. He couldn't believe his eyes that it was morning. A few moments ago it was 10:15 p.m., and now it's morning. For how long has he been pacing around his hotel room? Given the journey ahead of him, he went to the bathroom to get cleaned up, after which he put on the same outfit he had the previous day, because that was the only clothes he had. His mind was too clouded yesterday to even go with an extra outfit. With the wet clothes, he had left the house and drove around the city before he finally decided to place a call to Harry, and without wasting time, he was heading to their location to get some information needed to protect his mate. Walking over to where the receptionist was, he handed over the keys to his room to them before resuming his journey, assuming and assuring himself that Alyssa wasn't going to be angry and that she would understand from his perspective why he needed to take care of it himself. Although his anger level was spiteful and ready to bounce on anybody, that wasn't going to give him the answers. He needed to be careful as he drove. He needed no scratch on him or anything, because that would triple his punishment from her. He had no choice but to listen to Don Mian, his favorite artist, to calm his nerves down. When he got to the location given to him by Harry, the atmosphere was heated up. The pheromones of his mate's gamma were all over the place. He was angry at someone, and without wasting time he sprung towards the direction the pheromones were coming from, afraid that the gamma would lose his cool and kill the only source in finding out what Rhodey was planning towards his mate. Without knocking, he barged into the room, invading whatever conversation they were having and drawing all their attention to him, his eyes scanning the living room, from Harry to Elsa and the two strangers that were beside them, and he knew the male was Rhodey's beta, and he had caught on his name when Harry mentioned it. Checking on his time, it was 9 a.m. He needed to get this conversation done and over, get all the answers that are needed and be off, so he would arrive back to his pack and await the scourging thorns of his mate. He walked to where the beta was and stood a few feet away from him. "Jamayah, the beta of Rhodey of the dark blue crest, I heard you have some useful information about my mate and her ex. I would like to know about it," he inquired, walking towards the couch to sit down. He clenched his hands in a fist form as he heard everything Jamayah was saying, how sick and obsessed Rhodey was towards his mate. He doesn't even care if his pack is in ruins. All he wanted was Maverick's mate and the unborn pup. He felt the anger pulsing in his blood, and when Jamayah was done, he slammed his hand on the couch before getting up on his feet. Promising to help him, though he knew deep down that his mate would bash at him and stay mad at him, but he still wished to help them. A promise is a promise, and he hates going back on his words. That would make him weak. "I would help you and permit you to stay in my land, but you have to hide from my mate. Harry, get more information from them, and I will see you at the pack," he ordered them before heading to the door. What he didn't know was that a surprise gift was waiting for him at the end of the door. Elissa. Maverick wasn't the kind of person to leave without telling me where he was going. I've been staring at my phone all day. I got distracted from work today because I haven't heard from him, and it felt strange. Taking permission from Rosalind, I hurried home, hoping Maverick would be at home waiting for me with some good explanations as to why he was gone without telling me, but I was told he wasn't home yet. I tried calling him, but his number was switched off. I was worried and scared to death. He was acting strange this morning, crying and saying some weird stuff to me, and he left the house without a word, wearing the same clothes that were drenched. I called him again, but his number was still switched off. And then I remembered he told me about this application on how to track someone, and I remembered we played with it for fun until he was distracted by my pheromones, and we ended up being silly in bed. I opened the app and typed his number, but nothing was seen because his phone was still switched off. I had to place a tune on it to alert me if his phone was turned on. I retired to my bed, trying to sleep, but I couldn't, tossing on my bed, hoping he would open the door and come in to meet me and apologize to me for being a jerk. I woke up to the sound of my phone beeping, and checking my phone, it was Maverick's tracking device. His phone was switched on. I quickly rushed to the bathroom to get cleaned up and got dressed in a gown. I hurried out of the house. I searched for the quickest place to get to the dot on which his tracker was pointing to. The train was the fastest means of transportation to the location, and I hurried to the train station to book a ticket. I'm going to make him pay for making a pregnant woman worried to death, and I will ground him for months unless he gives me some good reasons or explanations as to why I shouldn't. My eyes were glued to the phone, hoping and praying that the dot would not change or disappear, and he wouldn't be leaving the said place, which would make it difficult for me to see him. When I got to the train station at the other end, I booked a cab that would take me to the location. Finally at the location, I followed his pheromones to the door and stood at the door. So many thoughts were in my head. What was he doing in an apartment like this, and why was he here? What was he doing here, and who was he seeing? All these thoughts kept pondering in my head, and I was eager to know that I lost track of what he was saying. And then I heard the door open, and standing in front of me was Maverick, who was shocked to see me. "Oh, you damn annoying, naughty, hopeless son of a bitch! I'm going to kill you!" I yelled through the mind link. He staggered backward, and I followed him, my finger pointing at him and my face filled with anger. "Babe, calm down. I can explain," he said through the mind. His back was against the wall, with nowhere to escape to. Explain. Explain? You want to explain to me about what? You want to explain how you rambled something that I couldn't understand or picture clearly and made to promise you that I will trust you and come running to you when I'm in need, and after that you disappeared mysteriously without telling me where you're going to, and your phone was switched off and I couldn't sleep. Do you know how messed up that does to a pregnant woman? I'm going to kill you, I scolded him. Babe, I will tell you when I get home. Now isn't the right time to talk about it, Maverick says, still trying to calm me down. Why can't you tell me now? Why? What's wrong? And by the way, who is here with you that you have to leave without a trace or warning? I asked him. I was about to turn my head to look in the direction of the living room when his hand covered my eyes. Maverick! Let go of my eyes this instant, or you would be in big trouble, I yelled. Elissa, you don't have to see this. I think it would be better for your mental health if you don't see it. Last warning, Maeve, I warned him. But when I found he wasn't letting go, I jabbed him on his ribs, and he let go, crunching his ribs in pain. And what I saw got me wishing my eyes were blindfolded and weren't able to see the disgusting figure in front of me. It wasn't a pleasant sight. It was my own nightmare, a nightmare I thought I had escaped from. But I didn't, and it was standing in front of me, staring straight into my eyes. Those tormenting feelings sprang back to life within me. Holy fuck. What is she doing here? Chapter 28. Elissa. Standing in front of me was the reason my life was a broken piece. The reason that made me give up on ever being in a relationship or believing that love or mates exist. The reason behind my past pains and hurts. The reason I left my first pack and became a nobody in a new land. The reason I had to work my ass off day and night just to save up for my pup. The reason I signed a deal that I didn't know what it would turn out to be. The sight of her reminded me of the pains I had been through. The memories I thought I had erased came rushing back into my head, and pains I thought were forgotten returned back to me like a long-lost friend. My vision became blurry. As tears streamed down my eyes, I remembered how close Elizabeth was to me. After she lost her parents during the war, my parents took her in, because she was just 14 years old then, and I was 15. She became the sister I never had. We would do so many things together, always wanting to be in the same vicinity, and we were like an inseparable pair. We loved doing things together and having matching outfits. When our pack was under attack, I remembered my dad taking the fall for her. She was meant to die that night, but my dad died for her, and my mom managed to escape with us, and that was how we ended up in the dark blue Crest. After hearing our story, Rhodey's dad offered us a home in his pack. On my 16th birthday, I was excited that Rhodey was my mate. He was a friend to us. He helped me heal during the process of my mom's death. A few weeks after we were settled into our new pack, Mom couldn't bear the pain of losing her mate. She started hallucinating, seeing Dad calling her and wanting her to come join him. One day, Elizabeth and I came back home to find my mom in the pool of her own blood, a silver sword pierced into her chest, and her suicide note, apologizing to us that she couldn't live. She couldn't bear the pain of being apart from my dad. I screamed when I saw it. Everything I have ever had and loved was all gone, and the only person I could look up to, and the only person dear to me, was Elizabeth. I made a promise to her on my mom's corpse that I would never be weak. I will grow strong so that I can protect both of us. If I had known she would be the one to cause me so much pain and sadness, I would have told my dad to let her die instead of him. I know right now I wouldn't have been so broken. If only she had died, my parents would still be alive. I staggered backward as my body trembled. My back was against the firm body of my mate. He wrapped his hands around my body, hoping he could calm me, but all I could think of was the hurt and pain she brought into my life. "Elissa, I'm sorry. If I had known you were here, I wouldn't have come. This is not the right way I wanted us to meet." I heard her voice, and then it reminded me of that day when she had sex with my ex-mate, the voice of her calling me a wretch. The memories were back again. "Do you love me more than that wretch?" "Yes, I do. I'm only attracted to her for the sake of the mating bond." "Then reject her and claim me as yours." She reminded Rhodey of how long they'd been having an affair behind my back, and that was the reason I was always feeling the hate from Rhodey. The once perfect Rhodey that was beside me when my mom died, the Rhodey that promised to make me not shed a single tear, that he would be my happiness, later turned out to be my nightmare. I remembered the words she said to me when I was leaving the pack. "He was always mine to begin with. You just happened to be in the way of my happiness, and I'm glad you've been ripped off. Enjoy the miserable years ahead of you, sister," she whispered in my ear. Those were the words that broke me. To think that someone my parents sacrificed so much for, that I have vowed to protect, was the one killing me. Those words became my everyday motto to be strong, and never let love take the best of me. "Then leave," was all I was able to tell her. "I can't leave right now. If I do, Rhodey will kill me. I promise, Elissa, I will stay out of your way. You won't notice that I'm in the city with you," she pleaded, and I sneered. "You should have been dead a long time ago, and I don't fucking care." I turned to Jamayah. "Take this trash out of my land," I yelled at the beta, and I was about to head out when she called out to me. "Lisa! Lisa, catch me if you can!" Her giggles echoed through the forest as we played hide and seek. "Lizzie," I called to her, "you know I suck at this game. Come out now, it's almost time for dinner. Dad and Mom would be worried about me." "Ah!" she screamed in pain, and I hurried toward her to find her on the ground with her legs swollen. "What happened?" I asked her. "I was bitten by a snake," she said in pain. "Hold on, my mom will help you out. She has the antidote to snake bites." I gently placed her on my back as I hurried to my home, calling out for Dad and Mom to come help me. I saw my dad running towards my direction and taking Elizabeth in his arms as he hurried inside with me trailing behind him. My legs were too tiny to catch up with him. "What happened, Princess? What happened to your friend?" my mom asked. "We were playing hide and seek in the woods, and she got bitten by a snake. Mom, please save her. She's all that I have right now," I pleaded, tears streaming down my eyes. "I will, love. I will save your friend, Princess, I promise," Mom assured me. And indeed, she saved her, just as she promised. I have protected her and saved her life so many times more than both of us could count, and all I got in return was a betrayal. I turned around and slapped her hard on the face, and everyone gasped in shock at my sudden outburst. "You don't deserve to call me Lissa. That is a precious name I allowed someone I used to value and love to call me. Don't ever call me that name again," I warned her. Taking a final glance in her direction with disgust, I stormed out, ignoring Maverick's call. I hated everyone right now. Maverick, Elsa, and Harry. They all betrayed me to meet up with that bitch. Was that the reason he left? He knew about the pains I went through. Harry, too, should have been the one to kick her out. He was my most trusted, and he decided to work with my mate to make my life miserable. Ah! I screamed. I didn't care if everyone's eyes were on me. All I cared about was the pain I was going through. "Are you okay?" I heard Leia's voice in my head. "No, Leia, I'm not. It hurts. The pain, the sadness, everything is back again, Leia. Everything we tried to let go of, everything we thought we escaped from, is right in front of us again. What am I going to do?" I asked her. "I told you I wouldn't let you get hurt again, didn't I? I will handle this myself. We are leaving this land and burying everyone behind us for good. Don't tell me you want to fight it head on. Sometimes it's good to be a coward and to fight another day than to remain here and not be able to do anything. Maverick is right behind us," Leia informed me. I turned around to Maverick, but I was swept into his arms. "Elissa, you have every right to hate me. I had a reason why I went there, and I wasn't expecting her to be there. Honestly, I went there for Jamayah to get more information concerning the—" He stopped halfway through his sentence. I lifted my head to stare at him. "Concerning what, Maverick?" I asked him. "I'm sorry, Elissa, but I can't reveal it to you now. I promise to tell you when we get home, once I have gotten more information," he said. I was still battling with the emotions and anger building up inside of me. Now, hearing this from him fueled the venting anger up, and I palmed at his chest so hard that he lurched backward. "Do I look like a weakling or a crybaby to you, that I can't handle whatever information or news I hear? Is that the fucking excuse you're trying to use to cover up the lies you're building up? You don't know how much I'm hurting inside, so please, Rick, give me something or anything that would make me not hurt or hate you right now," I pleaded with him. I just wanted a reason why I can trust him and have hopes that he would never hurt me as Rhodey did. And that whatever reason he was right here with Elizabeth and Jamayah was for something else and not just helping them to toil with my feelings. I needed something to vent on. I'm sorry, Elissa, but please, trust. You made me believe I can trust and rely on you. You gave me a glimpse of hope that you were different, but it all turns out that you are all the same. Elissa, please don't. I'm different. All I'm doing for you. Then don't. I'm setting you free, Maverick. Don't do anything for me. Elissa, please, babe, please don't say that. He was about to come closer to me when I held my hand up to stop him. Don't come any closer to me. I need my space, I warned him. Without waiting to hear what he had to say, I dashed off, running far away from him. When I felt my heart was about to explode because it was beating faster than normal, I was afraid of losing the only precious thing that would never betray me. I stopped running and stood at the side of the road. I yelled at the end of my voice over and over again, hoping it would offload the pains and ease the hurt I was feeling. My body once again was trembling. My head was messed up with the promises of Maverick, with Harry promising to be by my side forever, with Elsa wanting us to be friends, and with Elizabeth promising to be the best younger sister I could ever wish for. All those were empty promises that were never fulfilled. They were promises that were never meant to be kept. I halted a taxi and told him to take me to the train station. I had nothing to do here, no one to call. I was all alone once again. Mom, Dad, I know I promised not to be weak, but to be strong forever. But please, for the first time, I'm begging you for this favor. Please take me along with you. Please. I'm weak and hopeless right now, and everyone I thought I had and could trust is all ganging up against me to betray me. The more I wiped the tears away from my eyes, the more tears kept flowing down. I was a crying mess, and I couldn't blame anyone other than myself for loving, caring, and trusting too much. Please, Mom, Dad, take me with you. I have broken the promise. I have become a weakling. So please, punish me with death. Please, let me come to meet you where you are, a place where pains, hurts, agony is not felt. Please. I prayed silently, hoping my parents will help me deliver the message to the moon goddess, and I kept hoping for a miracle death to happen, but nothing seemed to be happening. I arrived at the train station and booked a train back to the pack house. I keep imagining the train encountering something bad. Either the railway is bad, or something bad would happen that would crush the train, and my body will be torn into different shreds. That way I would be with my parents, who I know will welcome me with open arms. Nothing seemed to be happening, and I found myself getting closer and closer to my destination. I hissed as I curled myself, hugging my legs tight to my chest. It seemed the moon goddess and my parents had also abandoned me, and I was alone. By the time I arrived at the train station at my destination, I took a cab to the park. I didn't want to go back to the pack house and have a conversation with Maverick. He was the last person I wanted to see now. Every time I seem to be in a bad mood, I always go to the park, where I can sit quietly and watch different scenarios. I would watch as kids played with their kites, couples holding hands, and it only made me wish to be a human, to live a life like them, a happy and beautiful life. But in my world, happiness doesn't exist. My eyes scanned through the park as people were laughing, couples holding hands, and I caught hold of a couple with their baby, playing, and they were having so much fun, laughing and enjoying their time at the park. This could be Maverick and I with the pup, but it seems I will be the one raising it all alone. The thought of being alone again with the pup caused my heart to break. I'm just a mess right now, crying like a weakling. I guess I have to be one, just for today. I heard the sound of thunder, and soon droplets of rain began dropping down, and I could see everyone running away to find a spot to hide. Soon it was raining heavily, the whole park was empty, and I was the only one in the park. This just represented my life. Yesterday I had people in my life, and I was happy about it, but today I had no one, and I am all alone in this world. I sat still on the seat as the rain fell on me. I was drenched cold, and it was freezing. I didn't want to go back, and at the same time I had no one else to call. And then I remembered Rosalind. She has proven to be good to me. I took out my phone from my back pocket to call Rosalind. At least she is the only one I can stay with until my nerves are calmed. At the first ring, she answered. "Hello? Elissa? What's wrong?" I'm doomed," I said in between sobs. "Where are you?" she asked me. "At the park, at Center Kingdom. I'm alone. Please, come get me. Please," I begged after giving her my location. 30 minutes later, I felt a cloth wrapped on my shoulders, and I jerked, as I was so lost in thoughts that I lost focus on my environment and didn't notice someone was right beside me. "Oh my God, Elissa, you are a mess. Come on, let's get you out of the rain," Rosalind said, as she helped me up and we headed towards the car. Once seated in the car, she helped me fix the seatbelt before running to the driver's seat. "I'm sorry for stressing you out," I apologized. "It's okay. By the way, what happened to you?" she asked, and I turned my head towards the window as I stared outside. "It's okay if you don't want to talk about it. I understand. "Let's just get to my house, and let's get you out of the wet clothes," she said. When we got to her home, she quickly went to prepare a hot bath for me in her bathroom and told me to get in. When I was done, there was a new set of clothes for me, which I quickly put on and went to the living room. I saw her talking to a boy, and when they saw me, they both stood up, and the boy was surprised to see me, which got me confused. "Elissa, this is my cousin, Justin Clark. He just came to see me," she introduced him to me. "My name is Elissa Smith. I'm sorry I'm like this. Nice to meet you." "Same here," Clark Justin said with his husky voice. I had to excuse myself, and Rosalind showed me a room I could sleep in. "Thank you, Rosalind. I'm grateful to you for your help," I thanked her. "Anything for you. As long as you are comfortable, and when you are ready to talk, you know I will be here to listen to you and tell you what to do," she said, and I nodded in agreement to what she said. For the first time in a long time, I was tucked in like a baby, and she turned off the light on her way out. I allowed the tears to run down one more time, crying my heart and eyes to sleep.